Hey, Genesis family, this week's word of encouragement is Psalm 46. God is our refuge and strength, an ever present help in the time of trouble. Therefore, we will not fear, though the earth give way, and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, and the mountains quake with their surging. It concludes with, Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. This psalm points us to trusting God in turbulent times, and it uses vivid imagery. The earth giving way, the mountains falling into the sea, the waters roaring and foaming, and the mountains quaking with a surge. These are pictures of instability where the foundations are crumbling, and it brings God into the equation. The times it presents are not unlike the times we live in now. It seems every time we turn around, there is some major news item that sends shock waves that reaches us. Just in the last few weeks, we have seen displayed on our screens a young immigrant girl returning home from work who is brutally stabbed in a subway. A young husband and father who is engaging with students on a college campus about politics and religion, assassinated by someone who disagrees with his political and religious worldview. Migrant detainee and ICE workers are fired upon by someone who disagrees with the current immigration policies, and one of them is tragically killed. On top of that, we are now under the threat of a government shutdown where the livelihoods of many are threatened. Political figures who have high-ranking authority are both pointing fingers at each other, placing the blame. There are some of us who have some concerns about the heavy-handedness of our current administration, and in some ways they're simply trying to fix the missteps and mistakes that have been made by all the previous administrations of both parties. That doesn't justify anyone or anything. What it does is it shows that we are in the midst of a lot of political polarization that we have lived in for some time, and it is boiling up into violence, both with action and with word. That's what we live in now. And the psalmist points us to the truth. God is our refuge and our strength. He is our true help. Perhaps this helps us recenter ourselves. Government is not our refuge or strength. Government is not an ever-present help in the time of trouble. And while some might espouse that to be true, many times we act as if we want it to be. But the honest and brutal truth is that we all look to things other than God to be our refuge and our strength and our help. And it's in these troubling times that we can look to God once again with fresh eyes. The psalm will go on and present how God is indeed at work within our world. And what is he at work doing? Making wars to cease, causing people to drop their bows and spears and shields. And it invites us to take some posture of faith, and that is to be still. Perhaps that's one of the missteps of what is happening in the boiling points of our current issues, is we're not being still. We're acting out of impulse, out of emotion, out of fears, out of prejudice, out of perpetuating injustices, out of applying victimhood. You name it. This is the challenge that we live in as people of faith. How can we be still and know that God is at work in the midst of the chaos and turbulence of life? It doesn't necessarily mean that we're silent about things, but I think we should be still before we speak. Be still and know that I am God, the psalmist says, speaking on behalf of the Almighty. And a couple times it says that the Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. So in the midst of the turbulence that we are feeling and the challenges that we have, I invite you to join with me in learning to be still and know that he is God. To not speak out of our emotion, out of our limited worldviews. To not react to this or to that. To be thoughtful people who look to God as our refuge and our strength. Who do not celebrate evil, but who also do not justify all kinds of issues that are provoking all kinds of actions. This is the difficult challenge that we live in as people of faith. I invite you to join with me in that journey, None of us have the answers for how that looks, but at least it should be our aim. God is indeed our refuge and our strength. God is indeed ever present in this time of trouble. And the Lord Almighty is with us, and he wants to be our fortress, and he is at work to make wars to cease, to bring shalom and peace. Let us be still so that we can see how God is at work and join him in the peacemaking within our cultural chaos. That's my word of encouragement to you. I invite you to reflect on that. I'm committing to memorize Psalm 46, saying it over and over again for the next several days, to let it seep deep within my soul and form and shape my actions and reactions to all that is happening in our world. I hope to see you Sunday.